while we're going live, I mean, you can't talk.
Okay. Michelle, it's good to see you. How was your week?
What happened to the meeting?
Stressful, busy, but good.
Yes, Nadine, you had a good week?
Morning again, everybody. Yes, I had a good week. Thank you very much. Giving thanks. I think that's all of us, any of us can do now.
True.
Michelle just talk about him go broke mint bush on a back figure boil tea.
Oh my God, Michelle, that is such a wicked thing to say. Really?
That's true.
She meant she broke the seal on the box to receive.
Well,
all right, this is Leo Gilling. Good morning to you guys. Good morning, everybody. Let me greet our audience. This is Leo Gilling on the conversation with Dianne and Michelle and Nadine, and later on we're going to have Senator Damion Crawford on. But we're going to start off this morning with one particular topic that seemed to be really a hot topic this week in Jamaica, and the topic of sexual harassment, right? And I am the only man right here, so I'm waiting for Damion to come to defend this thing here. There are three ladies. We have Dr. Dianna Davis-Smith. We have Attorney What is that? What is that?
Clarendon College. It's actually Founders Week, first in February. So we're celebrating Clarendon College, hailing up from my peeps. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. All right. And then we have Attorney Michelle Banger. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is having a lovely Sabbath.
So show the people in your team.
You cannot start the day without a hot cup of tea.
and then we have Attorney Nadine Atkinson Flowers. Good morning, Nadine, and nice for you to join us.
good morning. How are you? But remember, I don't pronounce my name like the Americans. I pronounce it like a true Jamaican, a true Yardie.
But tell me how you pronounce it, because I don't want to do it the wrong way.
Nadine.
Yeah!
That's how I pronounce my name, and I'm fine.
Nadine.
Not Nadine. Oh, it hurts me to hear that. Nadine.
All right, and this week has been a hot topic week in the Parliament. Was it Parliament or Senate? It was Parliament?
Yes, it was in the House of Representatives.
Okay, and we had a whole heap of things. So we're gonna have this morning Nadine Atkinson Flowers just lead us off with what went on this week in the House of Representatives that we need to take on. And
well, as far as I'm aware, I know that they, up until about December of 2020, they were having quite a few meetings, and persons in the public, persons with various interests, could come and make submissions to the committee that's dealing with the Sexual Harassment Bill. I think that committee was led by Honorable Minister Babsy Grange.
Yes.
And I watched a couple of the submissions made by various interest groups with the intention, hopefully, that some of the submissions will subsequently be able to find themselves in the bill, which hopefully will become law soon, since that is something that the country really needs. My understanding is that this week they were taking into consideration some of those. And of course, as we recognize, not all of the issues, the comments, the suggestions are going to find their way in the bill. But having said that, we must remember, in Jamaican parlance, say, we'll get there.
Yes.
Because this has been, it has been a long time in coming.
yes.
Other countries have enacted their sexual harassment legislation. And so Jamaica is on the path.
Okay.
I suppose I would want to start with something that a lot of persons may or may not yet have come to grips with, and that is the fact of what this act is supposed to do. This act is not meant to replace the criminal law as it relates to sexual assault or
Right.
allegations of sexual assault.
Let's make this very, very clear. Okay.
That's
Okay.
very clear.
Right.
And it does not negate or detract from the fact that you have your redress in the criminal law sphere.
Okay. All right. Because last year something happened, and I think Dianna wants she itch bad to say something, you know. She itch. Wait for Nadine to done to say, listen, last year this thing happened, and we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it. What what do you have burning, Dianna?
Thank you much, Leo. You're reading me well. I think, though, that for the audience, we need to outline that the Sexual Harassment Bill seeks to outline the types of conducts that constitute sexual harassment and prohibit certain related conduct and provide victims with a legally mandated avenue to have their complaints heard in an effort to obtain redress. But a rather fraudulent, perhaps, faux pas was what a clip from the parliamentary sitting of the Joint Select Committee on June 26, 2020, when a member said, "We don't want the situation that now happens in the Me Too movement in the US, where 30 years later you talk about, I was harassed in the elevator," and there was laughter. Now, the unfortunate minister who said this has to apologize over and over and over again on it. And I wanted for us to highlight that.
Yes.
Really, how does it relate to the Me Too movement?
That sounds it sounds almost irresponsible in a way. You know, people need to understand what they need to say in the public sphere. But Nadine, you said it's not criminal. What is it? How is it resolved?
This bill is designed to bring that which has always been happening and that which we can, I think, say without fear of anyone contradicting us, bring to the fore something that has always been happening in workplaces and in other public spheres. So the bill is to give persons who allege that they have been victims of sexual harassment an avenue to get redress. I think that in a nutshell is what the act intends when it becomes, the bill intends when it becomes.
So this is going to be resolved in court? Is it going to be in court to be resolved in court?
No, it will not be resolved in court. And I can take you to, I can do a brief run through of what the bill speaks of, and then we can, you can determine how we want to do it. Stop at various points, or I can just run through everything and we can, discuss it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you do that. But let me get Michelle. She becks because me no call her yet and thing. She becks. So
No. I'm trying to listen to this bill so I get a good understanding, because correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying there's no criminal
aspect to it. No, there is not.
So to me, if there's no criminal aspect to it, how do you hinder it?
Well, I think that's perhaps one of the things that persons have been saying. What is going to happen? And I tell you this, in the bill as it stands now, there is a provision. One of the clauses does speak to the fact that, let's say, for example, Nadine made an allegation against Leo. Of course, that would never happen. And it at the end of the investigation, we find that my allegations were unfounded, were spurious, were driven by malice. There is a section in the bill as it stands now for me to appear before the court. So
is that right?
To me, it's like, because, all right, to me, it's like you're criminalizing the victim again, because oftentimes people will make a complaint, but they don't have enough evidence to move forward, or because of the stress of it, they can withdraw and say, I don't want to deal with this. and then to punish them for that, but not punish the person.
Yes, that's what a lot of persons have said. And in fact, in the course of the various comments and various submissions that have been made, persons have actually put that, I can't specifically say which groups, but there have been so many groups that have been putting forward submissions that I know that has come up time and again as it relates to the provisions of the bill now.
I think what we need to do right now to get most of everybody to understand is to give us an example of what is sexual harassment on the job. What would constitute sexual harassment? Because you said something a while ago, Nadine, you know, when she says it's not criminal and it's not playing out in court unless there's a resolution somewhere between two people. But you didn't say that there's me as a man, Leo, would have any recourse if you came out to be wrong.
Could I say based on experience what sexual harassment is?
All right, so tell me, you tell me.
Because a lot of people, they don't take it seriously and how it affects like women and even men.
Yes.
Like for instance, you're going to get coffee and you make some sexual comment about it, or if the person bend over, you're saying something, or you're touching that person too much, and you know, like you have uncomfortable conversation, like when can we go for dinner, when can we eat, you know, like even though you're joking, sometimes you might say they're joking, but it's really uncomfortable for people, or you want them to work late and then you're hanging over them, breathing on their neck, saying different things to them. That
it's not like you have a clear man.
No, because to be honest, this happens a lot, especially when you're in a environment with males and they just assume, or they just, sorry, my little son just came in. But or they will say like simple stuff like you're walking by, oh, you're sexy, or you're like, you're if it's not okay, oh, you look ripe, your breasts look right, like those things that in Jamaica, even for little girls walking by, you know, like these are the things that people say and they don't think like you're actually harassing somebody sexually. And
this is true.
It's our culture to always say it.
The part that I don't like really don't is where it happens where a boss, someone that you're working with, right, create an environment, an unstable environment for you where they pretty much threaten, if I don't get sex or if I don't get what I want, you lose your job, and that kind of, that is where how deep that this can become. And even if they don't say it, just their whole aura, just their whole, the way they carry themselves when you know you're on the job and you are performing your job the way that you're supposed to. He thinks that, well, me are the boss, and so I'm supposed to get what we want, you know. Or I can
I'll tell you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you this, Lee. I'm going to start where Michelle kind of ended, as it relates to culture, because we are obviously going to have a culture shift, because I think all of us here as the women can attest to suggestions just like that from various people. The boss, people who on the same level as us, you're on the road, you're going in the bus, you're going in the bank, hey, psst, sexy. Everybody, I think here can probably say that has happened to them. In fact, I don't know of a country in the world where men say, hey, psst, sexy, but it happens in Jamaica. Yes. So I think perhaps a good place to start is where we're going to have a culture shift. Obviously, the bill as it stands now doesn't address that, because a culture shift is something that has to occur in our heads. The provision now in the bill says that sexual harassment is the making of any unwelcome sexual advance towards a person.
That all it says? Okay. Oh, that's oh my God.
Which is reasonably regarded as offensive or humiliating to whom it, you know, towards a person to whom it's directed, and in effect interferes unreasonably with that person's work performance, It creates a hostile environment. It creates an intimidating environment, or an offensive environment. There is a poll that they did, I think late last year, and they surveyed, I think, 126 various workplaces in Jamaica in various sectors. And the results were interesting because some of the behaviors that they cited as, would you think this is sexual harassment? Some of the persons said no. More than like, I haven't read the entire survey, I just read bits of it in the media. And that is interesting because usually in Jamaica, persons, just as Michelle said, those things happen to people. And even sometimes as women, we may just pass it off because
it's culture.
Yeah, it's culture, or you're embarrassed, but you don't know what to do about it. You don't know where to go. You don't know who to turn to. This act sort of is to fill that gap of where to go to, who to go to. But still, it is going to need this culture shift.
Dianna.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking though that yes, this act exists for those of us who have the opportunity to be acquainted or to become aware of it. But if we really want to have a culture shift, it has to start at the base. How do we bring this awareness to the younger generation so the young lady walking on the street will know that it is wrong when the sky juice man or the gleaner man says, yo,
Well, remember, this bill is not yet an act. It don't pass yet.
And
also, it doesn't really address that, I think.
Exactly. It only addresses the public space.
Right. I think some group gave a presentation, it could have been in December, and they were lamenting the fact that it doesn't affect that kind of space.
Right.
I suppose, and I hold no brief for the government when I say that perhaps this is something that can come in the future because amendments often take place. But for now, that's not going to be something.
Right.
Yeah, so that's, to me, in my opinion, it's just like a band-aid, this bill, because it doesn't really address the major issue. Because if you follow social media, where people with the Me Too movement, you have a lot of people that were on social media in Jamaica, children, talking about younger people, talking about how they're harassed in school, with teachers, on the bus with these taxi operators and everybody, and you have people from the workforce. So if they know with this climate, the proposal should have include everything that needs to be addressed. Why put it off for a later date? We know the problem is here. So to me, it doesn't do much. Like if
I'll tell you this, in the act, it says that a worker can be an employee in the private or public sector, somebody who's a domestic worker, and that's a very troubled and troubling
space to it right there.
Space.
It is.
So,
and also on the football field, for example, in a club where there's a coach. In fact, it mentioned the word coach because this obviously was a pain point where coaches, let's say male coach on a female basketball or football or whatever team, and they will not get a chance to play if the coach wants favors and doesn't get it, that kind of thing. And so, in every public space, and it's a good place to start, Michelle.
It's a good start. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
Public space is a good place to start because then they have control. My point would be, how do you truly prove? How do you prove it? Because it's between two people, right? Yes, it's between two people. How do you prove it truly that this is happening? Tell me.
But Leo, before I'm gonna ask you to stick a pin right there, and then I'm gonna get back to it. But the act, the bill, sorry, I keep saying that. The bill as it stands now, it defines, as I told you, employee in the private public space, domestic workers, persons who are employed under contracts for services, employer, subcontractors, students gaining work experience. And that's important because I think somebody just mentioned the whole issue of the school space. volunteers who are in organizations. And then I get back to your point now, how do you prove it? No. The bill, if I recall correctly, does not really tell you the type of proof that you bring, because that is going to be different for every
Case.
incident, for every case. And
You might have to record it, Leo.
that is how it is in the law. So it appears to my humble mind that what is going to happen is that if I make an allegation and you obviously deny it, then it will be incumbent upon me to bring that which I can prove my case. And it may well come down to credibility. It may well come down to, and I could have evidence because sometimes, you know, somebody might have heard, some office spaces now have cameras, maybe something, text messages, Michelle, I think I hear her saying, so you have something on your phone with a message that, you know, as a right-minded person, you would say, but that's inappropriate for Mr. Gillings to say to Mrs. Flowers.
But you're crossing the line, though. You're crossing the line, unless the law in America is different from Jamaica. But a person can't record somebody. No, I agree with the text messages. I agree with the sexual language in a text message, because that's proof, you know. But you know, I mean, if it's just purely me and you in my office, there's no camera, and you know, it's going to be a tough call.
But what do you suggest? Because it does then come down to credibility. Because let's say we're working late one night, which happens in a lot of organizations, in a lot of spaces. We're working late one night, and the female, you know, somebody you pass the desk and they slap you on the bottom.
Oh boy.
Nobody sees that, but
nobody sees
it happened to me. And so at that point, it is really going to come down really to credibility. And sometimes the victim may well demur from making a complaint, because just like Leo is saying, where the proof there?
Evidence.
And I'll give you an example of something that just came to me when, I think I'd actually mentioned it before when we went on camera. I've been a prosecutor for a lot of years and a defense attorney for a lot of years as well. So I've been in the criminal law space for a long time, and I've seen a lot. And I can remember cases where when you're cross-examining someone, you ask them a question, and as we say in Jamaica, I lick him. But he licks me back and him say, you did that, eh? Exactly. You did that, eh?
True.
Exactly. What am I gonna say? Because I never did it.
Right.
So that is going to be, I think, one of the things that we have to grapple with. But the bill, as it stands now, it becomes an act, can't cover everything, as we know. So amendments are going to take place. I think I heard somebody say that we're making steps.
But
it's a good step.
The one thing that I can assure you that this has done, that this will do, is to create awareness. Awareness that there is you have to account for your action, right? And so if you didn't do it, if I didn't do it, what is my action or reaction to or recourse to the person who accused? Because
that's what she said earlier.
Really hard.
It's a criminal aspect to it.
There is an aspect there, and I know persons have been saying that you stand the possibility and run the risk of victimizing the victim. Whether you're going to say it's an alleged victim or whatever. So that's something that they're going to have to perhaps look into.
And then, like you come from a country and you're fearful and you're afraid of your boss, and you say, okay, I will join. Then your boss become aggressive.
Yes.
Start going after you, the victim, although you're a victim. So it kind of, to me, they should have to add and criminal.
But remember, so you still have your recourse in the criminal court. You still can go to, if you live in St. Catherine, you go over to Spanish Town Court, Spanish Town Police Station, and report it to the police.
And
And
the police
they
go back, go
will
to tell his friend.
go and lock up John Brown or Tom Stroke and put him before the court for sexual.
I'm going to take some comments. Brian Smith says, bear in mind that some women don't mind verbal compliments, what might be considered sexual harassment, as long as it's a man she can find attractive.
No,
Yes,
not
but suppose she
necessarily.
don't want him. Let's just be frank about it.
Yeah, it's just what you feel.
A woman is entitled to
have
walk
that
around looking attractive. Is she
Be
not?
careful of your words. Be careful of your words, okay?
Yes. Isn't a woman entitled to walk around looking good and attractive and hot as we
I
would?
wear whatever
That's
she
what we
wants.
Yes,
do.
wear
That's what
whatever
we
she
do.
wants.
Yes.
So it is now for you as the man to think, I believe, would you want that to be said to your daughter? Would you
Yes.
want that to be said to your
Exactly,
wife?
mother.
Would you want that to be said to your mother? Because no act can ever put that into the framework.
Absolutely.
That's going to be impossible. That is something for you to decide. Because I know and I've actually had this happen to me. I'm walking with my younger sister when I was much younger and it looked hot, but you know. And a guy made a lewd comment and I was ready to fight him. I would lose, but that's not the point. The point is it irked me so much.
Right.
And I'm sure that if it were he that was walking with his daughter or his sister and somebody made such a comment, his reaction would be like mine, and probably he would fight the people because he would probably win.
Right.
Yeah, the thing is that society is changing though, because with my generation and younger, they realize the issue and they are addressing it.
Question.
I know
Question for you.
it's a change. Yeah.
Question for you, all three of you. For it to be brought to whomever whether it's a court or your superior at work, wherever this is going to be resolved, for it to be called harassment, should it be one situation or over a period of time?
Doesn't matter. The act doesn't say that it has to be once or it has to, sorry, the bill, I keep saying that. The bill doesn't say it has to be one incident or it's a series of incidents that constitute the conduct of the alleged offender. The bill does not speak to that. Therefore, if you feel that this one single instance came across to you as sexual harassment, you are well within your right, and the bill provides for it that you make the necessary report. And if it is a series of conduct of varying types, being asked to dinner, being asked to work late, hand dropping over your shoulder and landing strangely enough on your breast.
All of Michelle's allegations.
Precisely. All of those you can report because the bill does make provision for that.
That's interesting that because then I think we should have a step, and the bill should include something that says who will resolve this, right?
Oh, it does. The bill does speak to that.
All right, please help me. Help me.
Bill now, let's go to where. Oh, and I will say that there are various entities that are now doing talks and training on what the bill as it stands now.
Training.
What you're supposed to expect. I know that there
That's
was
a seminar for Nadine, you know that, right?
Indeed. I would have great pleasure doing that. All right, now there is a segment it says that there is what is called a sexual harassment tribunal, and they will essentially look at what has happened. But before it gets there, your employer or the entity, because it doesn't have to be in the employment sphere alone, it could be in the school. There are supposed to be some internal processes that you can follow, and you are expected to be told about those by your head of entity. Most people would probably say employer because that is perhaps what most people are thinking of. So for example, the Act the bill, sorry, says that an employer shall take immediate and appropriate action to deal with the sexual harassment of a worker.
Okay.
Where the employer becomes aware of that sexual harassment.
Right.
So it therefore requires, as I said, that there is some kind of policy, there are internal mechanisms.
Process.
Bill says that. Bill speaks of internal mechanisms and procedures that are available. So whether the entity puts up a
Poster.
poster to see steps 1 through 5 if you have been the victim of sexual harassment, and they explain what it is that they are going to do, so that
in America, Nadine?
sorry,
Yeah, they do that.
yes,
We are in America, right? Okay.
So you're saying to me then that I should expect walking into a government institution when this bill becomes an act, such posters that indicate to encourages employees?
no, the bill as it stands doesn't say you have to put it up. It says that I am to make it available.
So it could be in your handbook also too, right?
So I could give you a little handbook when you just start working or when you come on board as in whatever capacity.
Yeah.
So
Some
in
people
my
will probably
orientation,
put
I
up a
could
poster.
probably- Yes,
Yeah,
so I could be
or
walk through during orientation.
Yes,
Yeah.
so you are supposed to
that's
learn
right.
about it. So I guess in the same way that now, as you say, the orientation, perhaps some entities are contemplating, when we have our next set of new employees, new whatever, we have this as part of that.
So here's my
Leo asking so much question, and it's him we're going to take the action against. How long are they proposing that we have to report this? And I think my own readings reflected a 12-month period. But when we look at the Me Too movement, it's way back people go.
Well,
restricted.
I'll tell you this. I listened in on the submissions in December when they were in the subcommittee meeting, and that had come up, and apparently it's been coming up and persons have been expressing some doubt about that. And you're quite correct that 12 months may just be when you're beginning to recover from, God forbid, whatever it is.
The trauma.
Right.
So I'm hopeful, I don't know, because I haven't heard that they're going to move it to X number, but they're more than likely going to increase that based on the submissions, based on the discussion in the public space. It is quite likely that it's going to move, but I can't say, because I'm not privy to those discussions, where it is going to move to, because you're quite right. Those things can lay latent for many years.
Yes.
Currently under the Offenses Against the Persons Act, if there is an allegation of sexual assault, you can bring that at any time.
But that's a criminal thing, right?
Yeah.
That's criminal. That has nothing to do.
So, but that's how people are thinking about this. That why should you be limited in that the time frame within?
It's totally different. Yeah.
Because
Action. So let's hope that they make it a longer stretch. But I think the submissions, if people don't talk,
yes,
so people are talking,
and a lot of people are talking.
I think
a lot of people
going to move, but I don't know where it's going.
Dianna had a point. What were you going to say, Dianna?
No, I was just saying, putting myself in the position of somebody who feels that I don't have much authority.
Okay.
I oftentimes will have to wait a little bit longer until I can take myself out of the abusive situation or the harassing situation, so yes, indeed. And I think perhaps a forum like this is building that awareness of
and let me tell you this. I was about to turn to the people who don't think they have the power. And it's really nice that because we segue into this. The majority of our country, there are 500,000 people in Kingston, and out of that 500,000 in Kingston, we might have 200,000 who have the capacity, mental, academic, structural capacity to put a fight here up, with a person who's harassing them, right? But I am more concerned about the persons who work into other persons' homes. And today you might just see, she has to go to work because that's the only way that she can make a dollar, right? But she knows in the back of her mind that that husband that will live at the house, he won't bother me, he might go bother me, right? And not even anything sexual, not even physical, no, not even physical, but just mentally, because he probably knows him can't get away with holding me down, holding her down or anything, but he can put pressure upon her, say, listen, meet me out the door 8 o'clock tonight, or else I'll come back tomorrow, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So those are the people that I'm more concerned about, because the people in Kingston are going to have an avenue. They have an avenue. There's you know, whatever. But I think the people in St. Elizabeth and the people in St. Thomas and Portland, you know, really the country who look for a job and get a job and has to hold that job down, how do we protect them?
Well, remember, you know, the bill, as do all bills, it's the best way. It's a blanket. And everybody, when they go under the blanket, will have varying levels of being able to deal with what is happening. So for this one, the bill doesn't say this is how you approach it if you are a domestic worker, or this is how you approach it if you work at a government ministry. This is how you approach it if you work with an attorney or you work at a college. Just says this is how you approach it. There was a submission to the effect exactly what Leo is saying. How are we going to ensure that these persons get some measure of protection? I know there is an active, I don't want to quote the name. There's an organization of household workers, I think. And I know they made a submission, because I actually watched that one. It was in December. They made a submission pretty much detailing these kinds of things and talking about what members had happened to them over the years. So perhaps, I mean, this is no salve for the wound that is there, but if this kind of thing is happening, this person has to know, that's the first thing, has to know that it doesn't have to continue. There is redress. There's something you can do about it. I think that's this first step, because we are quite cognizant of the fact that there is going to be pressure brought to bear in these circumstances. The bill is trying, and I mean, as I said, I don't hold any brief for the people who wrote it, but I have to try and see it without the emotion. I have to try and see it from the perspective of the lawyer whose client might be accused, or because, you know, if something happens, you can bring your representative to appear with you, and the alleged victim can also bring somebody to be there with you.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes as attorneys, you do have to put your emotions at this back to represent your client, and you're gonna have to question everything.
Yes.
But it's good though. But I think as with the house workers, I think with that organization, it would be the best, of course, for them to have a representative.
We hope that will.
And I know they're doing workshops, because I've seen in the media that particular organization, they have had workshops to inform their members about what their rights are. And remember, it's not like 30 years ago when my aunts were involved in the domestic era space, where them young and them fool and them not understand what is happening, and nobody not there to guide and support them. Nowadays, everything is out. People are more savvy. People are more informed.
I think,
know what their rights are.
Leo, what I'm getting out of this discussion this morning is that clearly we need to build a sounder awareness around the bill and the issues that it is seeking to address, and that also there needs to be a network of support. People need to know where they can go, like the householders. They know that they have that support system that is there for them and will back them on things. But you know, if I live in a government facility for children, where do I go?
Yeah.
What is that support system for
Yeah,
me?
that's true. And another thing too, I was thinking is that they do need to sensitize these people too, because I've noticed several times where you hear people make reports, especially like the police, and they will say, you know, like, I'm harassed, my husband is abusing me, and they turn it into a big joke and say, you know, like, to them, it's what they're used to. They've been through it themselves, and they're like, oh, it's nothing really a big deal. So they do need to really sensitize these employers or these people with authority.
But as
There's
I said, I actually
that.
saw in preparing for the talk this morning, I read that there was a forum probably in early January, earlier, so much earlier this month. So many things have happened and we don't finish January, where they had a sensitization training for employers on the bill and what to expect, what their roles are expected to be, how they're expected to receive complaints and deal with them.
I'm gonna throw a loop here, okay?
Sorry?
I'm gonna throw a loop here, okay? What about
We have two lawyers here and you want to throw a loop, but go on.
all right? So what about political power, law enforcement power, what else? Soldier power, army. Okay, so we have also, you know, we can't take it just down to the layman level where this is happening, because our politicians can be doing it, our police officers can be doing the same people who are going to enforce this thing, and they can be a part of this problem too. How do we roll it upwards rather than downwards?
But I think, remember what I said, that the bill as it stands and when it becomes an act, it's a blanket. So it seeks to capture the behavior of anyone, regardless of your political power, your political persuasion, your occupation, your color, your class, your creed, your socioeconomic background. It seeks to cover all of that.
All right, I'm hoping this is going to happen.
We recognize, because we live in the real world and we live in Jamaica, that it may or may not gone away, as we would say. I made a report against the powerful Leo Gilling. But at least the act, when it becomes that, is there. Now you have nothing.
Right.
Remember, we don't have anything now. And we are hopeful that within a few months we will have this.
Just thinking out loud, I know Leah mentioned the military. I am not sure if you're following the news with what happened in the military. I think the military has their own rules too in regards to sexual harassment, because I saw where they said they actually govern with the issue with that junior officer. Yes. That they themselves reviewed and took action, and their action, just like here with the military, they have their own court system, and they were able, that person had to resign and the person was punished, because you can't have relationship even if it's consensual in the military.
The military is very strict with that, and we need to follow back on them.
Yeah, we need to follow that.
Remember, you know, that the military has, I admire the military. In a past life, I wanted to be a soldier, but
any soldier out there, any soldier out there.
So and I actually have attorney batchmates who are in the military, and my husband is ex-military. I admire the.
She got as close as she could.
Yes. Yes, I admire the discipline of that organization, and as you say, it is probably something we can emulate in a lot of spheres, but certainly in regards to this, because I read the headline of what Michelle is talking about, the junior officer and the senior officer, and I thought, wow, that's interesting, and in light of all of this, that was an interesting.
We have some comments, Diana and Michelle. You want to take them? I think there's one from Anne-Marie Harvey. She says, what is missing is a feeling of empowerment to the one who is being harassed. Many will weigh the economic impact, great point, and not speak up. I hope that will change. Great. I like
Yeah,
that.
That is true.
I guess
And
with education, as you say, and teaching people about the bill, they get more empowered. And then to have organizations that support them that they could turn to will also help with the empowerment. Like as you said, with the domestic workers, they have their organization. If you have, schools that can have a counselor. I know a lot of, I'm not sure if in Jamaica, I know here, they will have like a therapist on staff that you could get through your insurance, like the employees I had here. So I'm not sure if they have that. So if they could go to therapy to help them, deal with these issues and get support, they'll be better. And now people are more educated. As I said, if you follow the younger generation on Twitter, they are more educated. They know what to fight for and they're standing up and speaking up.
There
Here's
is an
more.
organization that I read about. I don't know much about them. It's called Girls Who Know Jamaica, and apparently they have launched a public education campaign about the whole business of sexual harassment, sexual issues, and they have been, I don't know if they've been going around to schools or what, but some through their various media campaigns, I guess, they've been talking about the legal framework, how to report, all of those things. So those kinds of organizations are going to become increasingly important.
That's
So
exactly.
And to be, not to cut you off,
the woman center.
but I just want to raise this point that just came to me. Also, a lot of pastors, because I have friends that are reverend, will tell me about issues and ask me how to assist the individuals. So they can go to some pastors and they will help them.
The bill also mentioned the pastors on the premise that they accept public funding, so therefore
hold on. Repeat that for me, Leo. Because I'm not sure I know what you're saying.
Pastors, but church. I'm so sorry about that. It mentioned the church in where it says that if it receives public funding, then that would be one of those public spaces that is protected under this bill.
Are you asking me if the bill says
But I
that?
think
I'm
Michelle-
No, I don't read that in the bill. I don't read that in the bill. As I told you, the bill pretty much is a blanket.
Okay,
So
okay.
it doesn't go down to that kind of level.
Okay.
But it does speak, as I said, to it has the definition institution, and it's probably good to read now what those are.
And the institution.
School, college, university, other place of learning or training, correctional institution or lockup, place of safety within this section of the Child Care and Protection Act, a nursing home within the meaning of the Nursing Homes Registration Act, or the place for the custody of the elderly, a medical facility and psychiatric facility, a place for the use of any facility by members of any organization, and such other place or facility as a minister may, by order, have published in the Gazette designated as an institution. So that is the wide ambit. So if you can put yourself
there
under one of those,
okay,
and it is more likely than not that you can.
Yes.
All of us can fall.
Michelle's point, though, was as it relates to the support.
Yes, I know, but remember, Leo was asking about the church.
Yes, because
I know that is not something that is specific.
Thank you for that clarity.
It's strange enough, I thought that Michelle was going to say that the harassment takes place.
That's what I thought.
That's why I went.
I get, because it does happen there too, but I'm saying, like, based on my experience of the pastors I know who have contacted me, and like they have, congregants that are abused, or so I know that some pastors do the right
support.
Yeah. So here's a comment from Marva Smith. I want to take some comments. Jamaicans have no respect of persons. No one takes accountability for their actions. There is no law as to even report a crime. We're not talking about a crime now. Be careful. You have to know the police, or he is usually because he's usually in the neighborhood. All these things are not just gonna go. It's learned behavior.
That's
All right.
true.
I want to take that for two reasons.
Come on.
I have a pet peeve, and it sometimes you can sound like you're on your own little soapbox because maybe a victim will say, but that never happened to you, so you can't talk.
Yes.
But remember, and I want to, even though this is not a matter that is in the criminal law sphere, I want to go there for a brief moment.
All right.
If you allege that a crime is committed, you have to be willing. It's difficult, it's very difficult, but you have to be willing to come forward. You can't just say, police boy, they might take money or blah, blah, blah. You have to be willing to come forward. You have to be. And I say that as a woman, I say that as a prosecutor, I say that as a defense attorney. I say that now as somebody who practices immigration and see, you have to be willing to come forward.
Michelle.
So you have to be willing to come
Michelle, I
forward.
take you on this. Michelle, I take you on there. Michelle, I take you on real quickly. See,
You have to be willing to come forward because if you don't come forward, the thing is going to perpetuate. It's going to continue.
That's true.
It's going to
I
continue.
agree. I agree, but to be honest, but to be honest, because to be frank and fair, if somebody said something to me, if I was sexually harassed and I felt terrible about it, I don't think I'm going to report it because it actually dehumanizes you. So you more than likely are not going to report it. But
it's hard.
Could I just say one thing?
Who's responsible to do it?
Could I say one thing? Okay, I think with that person's statement, I think what they're saying is that they have the confidence to go forward and to report this crime, but the officers are nothing is being done. But if you have seen over time, the reason why this is happening is because people have experiences within their communities of going to the office. As I've said, like I've seen in the news where people go to the office. I remember last month, a lady that was being abused ran to the police station and said, "Officer, my husband is going to kill me." And the officer said, "Come back in the morning."
That happens. Not going to deny that. That happens.
Like another person was being abused or the person was stalking them and everything. And the officer said, "Oh, he just like you."
But Michelle, you remember, remember.
And a lot of people. So it's like, I know officers, to be honest, family officers. So I know you have ones that do the right thing. But I'd say that they should create a department that is sensitized where when people come into the police station to make these reports, they feel safe enough, comfortable enough to make their reports and know that something will be done about it. It's not going to be a joke. They're not going to go back to Mr. John and say, "Oh yeah, Mr. John, Michelle, come in."
They do. There is a unit in the JCF that
yes,
is
but then the unit don't incline on our
yes. And I mean, if a member of the JCF is listening, they can correct me if I'm wrong, but from my experience, I know that the JCF has officers who the unit used to be called Sissoka. Something about the Center for Children and something like that, sexual exploitation. And they're at each of the stations, maybe in the more rural parishes that might not exist. But I know for a fact that they used to have the head office at Ruthven Road, because I've been there for persons who have been accused of sexually related crimes, and I've been there for victims when I was on the other side of the fence. So that is there, but unfortunately, you are quite correct that this happens. It happens with too much of a frequency. We're not going to deny that, but you must also remember that there are officers who take the issue seriously and they act accordingly and ensure that you get your justice.
Yeah, that much I give the praise for that, because currently now I do have a client that was abused in Jamaica that's here, and the officer is top-notch, secretive, not like disclosing anything, telling her not to say anything, like they do have those. But even if you can't go to the officer, if I said you could go to somebody that you trust that can assist you to go to the officer, to make the complaint, your pastor, if you have your mother, like a friend.
Let me tell you, see, in the remit, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Diana.
I'm commenting that there is a guidance counselor in
Yeah.
most high schools. And there is a need, I maintain that there is a need for us to have more support systems. So yes, it is that Cisco, this organization exists within the constabulary force, but each
No, they're
state
officers, they're police officers, but they have special training.
station must have somebody who is so trained and competent to handle it, because I don't want anybody that Michelle
Um,
knows to go to the police station and
Economics,
they come back tomorrow.
does economic play a big part in this? Because what it means that
I think so.
we are going to, the government now going to have to empower its force by bringing on brand new people or train whomever they have on.
Now that you went there, Leo, because the act says that the bill, sorry, I keep saying
Yeah.
this. Bill says, the bill says that there are going to be authorized officers. It says the ministry, clause 10, says the minister with responsibility for gender affairs may designate persons, and they're going to call them field officers, and they're going to be attached to the Bureau of Gender.
Oh,
And this is what their job.
That's very nice.
This is what their
that's
job is.
Yes.
They're going to investigate and secure. It says the proper observances of sections 3 and 4, and sections 3 and 4 refer, and let me just tell you quickly, to what employers in whatever sphere are doing to make reasonable efforts to prevent sexual harassment. And if it is, unfortunately, the employer has not been able to prevent the sexual harassment, and it happens, then they are going to be investigating. So they will check to ensure that the employers are following the protocols, and they are also, if God forbid the protocols fail, investigate any complaints that are made. Now, investigating the complaint, I suppose they would talk to the alleged victim,
The employer.
the alleged, pardon?
The employer.
Not
Because
necessarily. Suppose
Yes,
it's not.
of course.
they would have
Suppose
to,
it's not. Suppose it's not the employer. Suppose it's an employee situation. So whomever are the parties that are involved, these field officers are going to investigate, and they will take it from there.
I didn't mind the first part of that, Nadine, right? But the second part, some level of investigation, I would prefer have been done by like the human resources department or the head of the organization before it gets to the police officer. Or is that
No. There's no police officer. Remember, there's no police officer here because this is not in the criminal law.
Yeah. Okay. Feel
Here, this is, right. So,
right.
but remember now that the employers are expected to have their internal mechanism.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, let's say there's an incident at office space A between
Legal's office.
this person, which one?
Legal's
Whomever. And we have such an excellent internal mechanism that it is resolved.
We don't need it. Need to feel
You
off.
don't need it because you have put in such an excellent mechanism, because you are savvy to this and you were on this program listening to all of these learned people with you.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
figure it out.
you resolve the issue, and at the end of the day, the employee says, I am well satisfied in the way in which it was conducted. So HR could be involved because HR would have that kind of training, or whomever else, let's say somebody has been doing psychology, all of those people who can show empathy and so on.
Yeah.
Have been involved in the process. And that is why the process is so important within the particular organization. And
Yes.
I think that is perhaps why the bill as it stands now gives you some indication that it is very important for the organization to put something in place. That is what is lacking now in a lot of
I'm so happy that you made it to this call this
Yeah,
morning.
very insightful.
Because we would have been spinning our wheels trying to find out, okay, where do we turn here? And sometimes
Thanks for inviting me.
sometimes you just talk and you talk like the regular man who
Yes.
just
Break it down.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm a regular man, a woman, but I'm a regular man. I'm a
yeah,
regular man.
But not to cut you guys off, but I just had a quick question while you were
Mhm.
explaining. So, for instance, if the internal organization did their review,
Mhm.
suppose you're not confident or with the result, do you then
Mhm.
go to the agency that the ministry is creating to make a
All right,
complaint?
let me make a quick check on that, Michelle, because that's an excellent point. Because suppose you honestly don't feel like you have got your justice.
Well,
yeah.
Yes. So let me just do a quick. I would have to probably put a pin in that, but I don't think that would negate it. I think if
Yeah.
you do not feel that you have been properly listened to, you do have that. I just want to make sure I find it, that you do have that,
She go
that
to the criminal
redress.
court.
Let me see. You should have it, but I just want to find the place
But
and tell you.
there's some other comments that I lost.
Comment.
You see any comments, Michelle? There is
Yes,
one. Go ahead and take that.
um,
I have visited Jamaica and feel that the cop gives special treatment to visitors. Okay.
really, in some instances, because most of them usually say that I've experienced to say, oh, you're a US citizen and they don't want to get involved. So sometimes they do. But oftentimes they do stick to the rules. You have some officers that will stick to the rule. So with everything, you have good, you have bad.
Yeah, man.
But
Yeah, there was someone who said something about the bill. Who is what did they say? I think it was Horace Ward who said something about where is the bill go? Oh, yeah, it says, what is their position, response, or steps they are taking to implement this bill?
Okay, I can take that, but before, yes, at section 25, Michelle, it says that a person who alleges that the employer hasn't taken immediate and appropriate steps to deal with that allegation of sexual harassment can actually make a complaint in writing to the Sexual Harassment Tribunal. So you don't feel so you get your justice.
Yes,
tribunal. That's true. Yeah, that's a good thing. Are you being ignored?
Sense. Yes, that makes sense.
That tribunal I go pack up.
May I tell you?
There will be. And for the question of what steps are being taken, remember that all of this started out as an idea, and it is now, it's been going through the steps in the subcommittee in Parliament. I don't know when they are anticipating adding any additional clauses and then having the debate on it, but I presume that it's going to be within this year based on the pace at which they are moving.
I hope so.
Yes, that is, so that they're moving at pace, but I can't tell when they are going to actually have the debate on it. And of course, all of the comments have to be considered. Some will be added, some will not be. And you know, all of that is a process.
And based on what Nadine is saying, not Nadine. All right. What Nadine is saying, what you think about this bill? You feel comfortable that it's at least going somewhere? How do you feel? Because I'm feeling kind of good that this is out there. You know.
Me, Nadine?
Yeah, man. You know, may I ask Dianna what she feel about what you say, Nadine.
Oh.
I do believe that, yes, this bill is a step in the right direction. That I can't even begin to understand why it never existed before.
Yeah.
But like everything else, we're catching up with it. The awareness that needs to be built, I can't state the urgent need for that. And I think that sufficient noise ought to be made by the right persons here about that 12-month period for persons to report this kind of an incident.
Well, Diane, just on the 12-month period, I think I'm confident that they're going to move that. I was on a forum in November with the legal officer for the ministry, and she said they had heard very clearly
Yes.
that consternation people had with the 12-month.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Happy to
that's
hear that.
what-
Again, is
but
the
it's not enough to even start thinking about it.
But I don't know where it's going to move.
You know,
It's going to move.
yeah, and that's. I think, Diana, it started. I may be wrong, but there was an incident a couple of years ago at one of those colleges where this lady came out and said that she's.
Or Yui.
Was it Yui? Yeah, and she
Yeah,
said.
I think the drama. What's the drama?
No, it wasn't us.
Yeah, it was the it was the what was that school? What's the school? The art school. Edna.
Edna Manley. It was Edna Manley. That is exactly right. Yes.
Manley School of Arts.
Manley School of Arts. And I think that's where the eyes got opened. And,
Yeah.
and you know, I was kind of happy for that. I was happy that at least we're getting somewhere, because there's a lot of abuse. Trust me. A lot of abuse. And we haven't gotten, in America, there is somewhat of a stability in our environment, right? There's work environment. People know, they are aware that you can.
But it still happen.
That's my point. That is exactly my point. But it's still happening. But at least there's a high awareness that you can have some recourse. You know what I mean? And so I think the awareness in this document that you are presenting to us, Nadine, is something that, it's a start. It's a start. It's really.
And particularly when you look at the power imbalance that exists in our small country, it's even far more relevant for us, because when you have a particular sector that influences so many other spheres of my life, you don't want to complain, even though you feel and know that you're being harassed. Because one, you're going to lose the work. Your husband who worked for him cousin down there, so might lose the work. The one who worked at the MP office definitely going to lose the work. You don't want to cause.
Yes, you want to rock the boat.
You don't want to rock the boat.
Yes.
So you continue to endure. But I think that the more we know that we have a support system around us, that we can go to our pastors, that we can go to guidance counselors, that churches will set up groups to support particularly students, because some harassment takes place in school. So they're not going to want to go to the school counselor about it.
True.
As I said, the bill seeks to assure persons, when it becomes an act, that there is recourse.
I like when you say when. I mean, what are the forces? Hold on there. That is a good discussion, right? I mean, overall. What are the forces that can prevent this bill from becoming an act? Tell me.
Well, if they decide that they are not, if the parliament in their wisdom decide that they are going to put it on the back burner for a while. Because remember, this bill has changed form over the past, I think, let me see,
5-7
3 or
years.
4 years, could even be longer. It has kind of taken various twists and turns. So if the parliament, as I said, in their wisdom, decide that there are some other issues that are far more pressing, we must address for the good of the people, that this bill may well take a backseat.
So
I have no insight.
They're concerned for it. Or if the people don't advocate for it, then yes, they're going to take the position.
So I think
but that's
based on the momentum, based on the momentum, this is moving apace. And
to me, it's like when people
debates. It's good to watch watch the submissions that are being made, so you get an idea as to what people are saying. And
but my thing is that every time something is a hot topic, they say, "Oh, we're working on it," and then when the noise dies down, it's placed on hold, and then they do the next hot topic and say, "Oh, we're addressing that topic." But I'm hopeful that they make it a priority, because we have more women now in parliament. So I'm hoping that they too will help to push this forward to get it done, so people know that the government is actually
Well, it won't be because of what Diane said earlier why this would get railroaded, right? Because she said that there was someone, a minister, who said something about.
No, they curse him out. What's his name?
I know. I'm just saying, it won't be for that reason that so the male dominance would cause the bill to be shelved or something like that. It won't be.
Well, the testosterone up in there.
From what I see, the thing is moving apace, and I think it's better not to speculate too much. Lawyers don't deal in speculation.
Just asking you.
But I want
moving
it to be
apace, and I think that has to be sufficient until the day.
Yeah. Hopefully not too long. The pace is not another 4 years.
That's dry. That's really dry.
No, but I don't want it next election that is a hot topic. Get it done. Keep working on it.
Oh my God.
That's my opinion.
We are actually waiting for Senator Damion Crawford to join us because I wanted him in this conversation. I'm going to call him. So guys, you keep going for me real quickly. But
Nadine, great information.
It's
well learned.
Thank you. It's useful to have these kinds of discussions because persons know what is there, they know what to expect, they know what not to expect. And by being aware of what not to expect, it pushes persons to say, oh, so what about this or what about that? And I always like to say to people, nothing beats pen and paper. Nothing beats that. So if you have a comment, don't just sit and type it on Twitter or type it on Facebook. Write a letter. Of course, this probably sounds like MP. Send it to your MP. When they ask for public submissions or they have the discussions, go and make your voice heard. Because that's the only way we're going to change things. You have to make it.
If they have that ability to do so.
Listen, Jamaicans, we can do things to the best.
Here's my.
We're so good at being bad that we're also bad at being good.
We can't flip it. It's a problem.
So we can do it. You don't have to be. Nobody expecting you to come and push up your chest and the words that flow from your mouth. We need a dictionary. That doesn't help.
They can do it.
But I was thinking more on the line that if these things are happening to you, write them down, right? Get a book and write them down because that does
nothing beats pen and paper.
Right. Just write them down. Yes.
Yeah, or just tell somebody, once you tell somebody, it's like they'll remember. They could say, oh yeah, Nadine, like if it happened to Nadine can come and just mention it to me over lunch. And I could say, oh yeah, Nadine came to me on June or January 30th and she did say this happened. So there gives credibility to what you say, what you say. So even to your mother or somebody, not only write it, but talk to someone.
Talk to persons about it, right? Because it helps with the case that if you are harassed or sexually harassed, that you when you go to in front of the tribunal, that you have somebody else who you have talked to.
Yes, you can have somebody. When
you send an email.
I
always tell people to send an email. Like if you feel something happen, you could send I'm just saying Leo, just because you're the only man.
Listen,
you could send an email and say, Leo, I felt uncomfortable.
That's good.
You were, over me. So it's timestamp and you send it. Leo can maybe respond and say, oh, sorry, or whatever, but it's still there.
Still there.
And Michelle, how you coined that? Leo, I was feeling uncomfortable, brings me back to restorative practices. Wherein you have your I statements and say, I am uncomfortable because next time you do so and so.
Okay. I get some help. I get some help today because I was the only man here.
You're holding your own.
But I think we have Senator Damion Crawford online with us. Senator?
He's muted.
No,
How are you doing?
We're good.
Good
morning.
Good morning, everybody.
I need to balance my ugliness with these beautiful ladies here, and I'd appreciate it if you could come on camera for us to just to balance it.
Well, I will only add to their beauty. I can't help it in every part
I want to see.
of
Oh my. Like, good morning, Damion. So I was wondering because I saw a little video that you cut off your locks. I was like,
No, I don't know who that is. That person look nice and cute now and these people. I don't know. No. See, it's still intact.
It's still
But
there.
I
Still
love
there.
Jamaican. Anytime they don't hear from me, they just make up a story.
I was waiting for the big reveal. I was like, wow.
No, still there.
But yours almost as long as mine, man. What's going on?
Yeah, that's what I say. All these years, and they just want to say cut off.
Let me introduce these ladies to you. There's Attorney Michelle Fanger, Attorney Nadine Atkinson Flowers, and Dr. Dianna Davis Smith. She's the president of Catholic College of Mandeville. And
Yes. Morning.
yeah, man. I'm here to talk. I don't know if you want to join in the conversation. I know I brought you on about farming and food security, but
Yes.
them attack me whole morning, man. I need help. They're talking about the sexual harassment in
I
Jamaica.
was listening a while ago. Yes. It's a very pertinent thing in Jamaica now, because a bill has been passed in Jamaica. The Sexual Harassment Bill.
Okay. Yes.
Yes. There's also a review in the parliament about it.
Yes. That's what Nadine here, she has been up to speed on it, and she's been helping us and guiding us to think clearly about this thing so that we don't go off on our own thinking about all of these things and then plastering American policies with Jamaican policies. She's been keeping us really, really on track here, and I'm so happy because it's been done very well this morning. Thank you so much, Nadine.
You're welcome.
I am very worried about it. I'm very worried because, as you know, our culture might not accept the realities of what sexual harassment is. In some of the definitions that I've seen and some of the cases that I've been hearing about, our men in Jamaica think that being consistent and being adamant is a part of the process.
Yes.
And what I'm seeing is that once you should have reasonably know that you don't want your overtures, which saying she have a husband or a boyfriend, seem to suggest that yes, that is a sufficient basis of reason that you should know not to continue.
Yes.
Our men think that no, man, just a break her down, man, sure. So I'm very worried for our culture and the lack of, what would I say, a culturalization, if that's a word, to get us up to speed, because we frown upon those things when we see it in the United States,
Right.
That you gotta look hard then,
Yeah.
It's interesting you said that, Damion, because Dianna mentioned that whole issue of culture.
Yes.
She was very present about that, because just as you say, we just a looker.
So how do you recommend we deal with that?
Well, I was saying that the act doesn't really cover culture. What that is going to require, like a shift in our mindset as a people, our whole business of our values and our attitudes and how we think about the issue of what constitutes harassment.
Or how we raise our sons and our daughters.
Certain things, but of course, it's a mind shift, and a lot of us will.
Can the bill, or if it goes into an act, can it help with the shifting of the culture? Will it help?
I think it will. That's my humble opinion, that it will, and it will. But you want it done now, and it's not going to.
That's hard.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
it's going to take time.
I heard Damion just now say, when you say no, yeah, he's gonna come back. When you say no to a Jamaican man, them think it's time to put in the start. Say, boy,
nerves.
We have to get you. We have to get you. Something wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
The culture. You're hoping that this will help with the shifting of the culture rather than addressing the culture addressing it, because you can't address the culture to change it, because people are going to push back. But if you put the policy in place, then it will help. The awareness will help to shift the culture.
Yes, and all of the efforts that are being made, by the non-profit sector, our various NGOs, like that group that I told you about, that I read about, the Girls Who Know.
Right.
All of those
Yeah,
kinds
but the thing to me is that even though you're gonna have it on the books and all these organizations, the basis of it is that we have to raise our children better. Like
that's the culture.
teach them, the culture. We have to, as family, home, the village, have to raise them, because we could have any book, any law in the book or anything. But as I see with crime, something just don't deter people. Like, yeah, it's there, so what? So you just have to educate from the house, even teachers in school. From a young age, you have to start teaching children, teaching boundaries.
Michelle, are you saying that this bill, once it becomes an act, could be shelved and not enforced, but it will be there? Is that what you're saying? I mean,
yeah, to me, it's like, because most people, like with anything else, like you can know that it's there in the books, but you can't do it anyway. Like, especially in rural areas, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, we can still call to her. And the mother might say, oh, just ignore it.
The call to our part, not in that bill, Call to our part, not in there.
But even in
the
the
parts that are in there. But
even in the
I agree with you to one extent, but to the next, Michelle, I don't, because
I want to hear Damion. I want to hear Damion respond to
but remember,
yes,
if it's on the books, what we have now is nothing.
Right.
We have nothing now. So this is going to be replace the nothing that we have. And then it is going to be for us to make the movement. I read someplace that it takes a generation for the culture to change.
Exactly.
God's willing. Maybe not so long.
That is how we bring up our
Maybe not so long, but we begin now and we move ahead. Not wanting to sound like, oh, everything is wonderful and we must see positive results immediately.
No, it's not.
I think we all know that it's not going to be
it's not going to happen overnight.
But I think with the combined effort, we will get somewhere. Hopefully in my lifetime.
Just because we brought him on for a particular reason and
let's move on.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for this, because this has been really eye-opening, not just for me, but I'm sure for most of the people I'm seeing that's talking and texting on the WhatsApp and texting me. It's been really a good topic, and I'm sure we're gonna get back to it sometime soon. Really, really soon.
Yeah, we will. Just a little thing. Just tune in to jdtan.org. We'll be doing a presentation headed by our lovely attorney Nadine Atkinson Flowers to discuss.
Sexually harassed right there.
Yes.
Lovely. Yes. I bet if I had me say it,
I wouldn't feel that way.
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Right. Have a great morning, everybody.
You too. Have a good
night. Take care.
Bye-bาย.
All right. So we're gonna go on to another topic this morning. We brought Senator Damion on for this morning, because it's really a topic that we need to discuss. It is about farming, and it's about food security. Once upon a time, about two years ago, probably 3 years ago, I remember Damion in the news about saying something about owning one goat, right? And then people laugh about the whole thing. But then what I saw on video recently was Damion with that one goat created a whole thing. I mean, Damion, please tell us what that one goat thing was about, and tell me how come you get 100,000 goats, and a big farm, a huge farm. Tell us about that.
I want to add one question too. Will he tell us where the farm is so I can?
Yeah.
All right. As you said, in 2019 there was a by-election in Portland, and I, in an attempt to to make a proposal to the people of Portland, I tried to study what was it that could have assisted them out of the circumstance that they are in currently, which is not perfect. Might not be the worst, but is not perfection. And so in doing that study, I came upon the reality that St. Mary had a lot of rain, which led to a lot of grass, and by extension, could actually be a viable food source for mutton. We call it mutton. The actual term for goat is chevron.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So mutton is actually sheep.
Yes.
And one of the reasons we call it mutton is that when we import the American sheep, it come in as mutton.
As mutton.
So it was a curry mutton.
I
You understand? Yeah.
We had a big conversation about that last week, you know.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that is why there's such a difference in the demand for local quote unquote goat and foreign goat. Because foreign mutton is two different meat, is sheep and goat. You understand?
Right.
So the taste profile is very different. You don't find an equal differentiation between local pork and foreign pork. You understand, in the demand and the taste profile, because one is goat, which have a higher bone to meat ratio, and one is sheep, which have a lower bone to meat ratio. And as a
yeah, man, we got that. We're losing him again. Interesting conversation already, don't?
It is, because I didn't know the difference.
Because
Because
the background of the fallout within the tourism sector. Michelle, we're trying to buy us some time to rescue the house. In light of the recent declaration by the Canadian Prime Minister to suspend flights to all Caribbean destinations, we can
flavor
and fallout.
Hold on.
He's back.
There he is. You're on mute. Unmute, Damion.
Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, sorry about that. So I'm in the rural part of Jamaica, so I'm having a little problem with the internet.
All right, it's cool.
So yes, so I was telling you that the higher the bone to meat ratio is, the greater the flavor of the meat. That is why ribs taste so nice, and that is why wings taste so nice, and that is why we prefer the thigh than the breast as it relates to the taste and tenderness of the meat. You understand? The closer it is to the bone.
Okay.
So because the sheep have a higher fat ratio, meat to bone ratio now, it's not as flavorful as the mutton.
Right.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, as a goat, yeah, as a chevron, right?
Yes,
So
yeah.
what happened now, I was studying now, the first time I was exposed to this whole goat thing was saying, okay.
You know, you could just turn off your video. Turn off your video. I would really like to see you, but I want to hear you more. Turn off your video. It would have been nice.
Hello?
If you turn off your video, we can probably hear you more.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, you already see some laxes intact, right?
Yeah, well, we see a good looking.
All right. Yeah. So you hear me now?
Yeah, man, clearly.
So I'm going down to Portland now. So I said, okay, I'm going to put the proposal together for Portland. If I was going to West Kingston or if I was going to Waterhouse, goat wouldn't have been the proposal, yeah?
Right.
Because they wouldn't have had the space and they wouldn't have had the feed. So I put this proposal together to say goats, breadfruit, tilapia fish and bees through honey. And the reason for the goat in particular was that Jamaica imports $2 billion Jamaican out of mutton for curry goat purposes. So we import $2,000 million out of mutton for the purpose of curry goat. I'm just trying to make that sink in.
I mean, I'm floored. Can you repeat that for us, because I had no clue. Okay, so please repeat that for us.
$2 billion, which is $2,000 million. That's what we import in mutton for the purpose of curry goat.
And that's cheap, and that's sheep.
Sheep in the main, sheep, yes. Because if you look in America, really not produce a lot of goat.
No.
So when we get a lot of goat, we get it mostly from New Zealand. So from America, you really get old sheep. You understand? So that's why you have to pressure it and all them things. If you really get a 10-month-old or 11-month-old goat, no need no pressure in, man. And they cook that chop off of the bone, man. Nice and
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Yeah. So as I said, just as a mathematician, it's $2,000 million. So 2,000 of us can make $1 million a year, right? Or 200 of us can make $10 million a year. You understand?
Yes.
Or even 20 of us can make 100 million. Now, that is up to the Jamaican people to decide. But me, I gonna be one of either the 20, the 200, or the 2,000.
Right.
Anyway, I made the proposal now, and it was like a big joke. Like the entire Jamaica was ridiculing me, right?
Right.
And as you know, I do eggs.
Yes, we do.
And I've learned eggs is really a rich man's sport, because when the market is down, you still have to buy feed. So
Yeah.
like the hotels lot now, you either have to kill the birds or you have to buy feed, they're not making back the money. When the
Oh.
market is down for goats, you just send them go eat grass.
Yes.
You understand? And if you don't want to send them, you go cut it and carry, go get them. So
Yeah.
therefore I said to them that the cost of feed is so low that you actually could do it for the poorest of people. Once them get the goat and willing to use them time to carry it, then the cost of feed would allow them. Are you hearing me?
We're hearing you quite clearly. As thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So the thing now, they start calling me goat man, and it was general ridicule, right?
Mhm.
So I said to myself, all right, then since I laugh, I'm going to do it myself.
Oh my God.
So yeah. So the election was April, because the intent was to do an exact system like you see me have now.
Yes.
And the parent would only have to cut the feed. So there will be a truck where pick up the feed from the parents each morning and feed the goat. So all the child would do now is like on a weekend him come and see him goat and learn about it and be then able to. So basically you can make up to $20,000 profit from a goat, easily.
Yes.
So when you have 1 or 2 mother goats, by the time them finish multiply, giving you 4 to 5 kids in a year time, you can imagine how much $20,000 you have if you only sell them for back to school. You understand?
Yes.
So it was my intent that this child would have a goat for 5 years or 7 years and just keep selling them every back to school season, the offsprings of the goat.
Oh.
And by extension, wouldn't have to come to me for a $2,000 book voucher, which is the average book voucher I give out. Now, I know it's an American station. We're talking about 2,000 Jamaican dollars.
Come on,
So I'm saying, why would you come to me for a $2,000 book voucher for a $22,000 book list? So what I say, I'm going to give every 7th grader a goat each year within the constituency, coming from the CDF. And then that will be replicated by basically taking back one of the kids to give the next year for the other set. You understand? And we get some people like FAO and some other people will wrote to and grants to say, oh, yeah, man, they'll consider giving some grants and things to help buying the first set of goats. Because after that, now, the goat kids will become the new thing. So I said, all right, then I'm going to prove this concept right. And I put some investment and I bought 40 goats. I bought 40 goats. And in learning and thing, about 12 dead.
Okay.
Yes, I say, because like sometimes them never get the right housing and start going on the internet now and start study it. And then about 60 more. I end up having 80 goats. And from 80 goats within a 2 years time, this is April will be 2 years.
Yes.
I have over 400 goats.
Wow.
That is and some pregnant.
400. Wow.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So yeah. So what may I try to know? So I put it on internet. I think I'm still laughing, but just to serve as an example.
I know. I saw it. It's
rural area. Yeah, man.
Yes.
When it's the goat that come up and does goat, back a goat.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I wanted you on because I wanted you to prove your point more than anything else, that you only have to start somewhere to get somewhere. Yeah. And I'm very impressed. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, but I've noticed that there's a big shift now where people are turning to farming, because I see where college level children are doing farming to pay for college. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Oh, I'll just continue talking till he gets back on. So yes, so you see people now are doing farming in their homes to help, provide food for their table instead of going to the market. You see more people are doing that. So I think it's a great initiative, and I see the Ministry of Agriculture actually pushing the agenda for people to do more farming
Yes.
to
Yes.
help
Well,
provide.
what you say, we don't understand that a business is anything that create value, yeah? What we think is that a business is only that you have a tie or that you have a jacket. Some of the richest people in Jamaica are farmers. Let's look at it. Best dress is a farm, it's chicken farm, them though.
Yes.
Rainforest seafood, Grace pepper, Walker's wood pepper.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So these people,
And I saw they have some new conch laws that got they released some the what do you call it, what do they call it,
Coaching.
the
no,
poaching.
poaching, yes.
Mhm.
Yes, conch, and conch is a big business in America, huge, humongous business in America.
Mhm.
To see the government regulating that, I was kind of happy to see that, and that's a part of our agriculture.
Well, there's a conch season. There have always been a conch season which serve as the regulation. What happened is that people from Honduras and some Jamaicans overfish even within or over whatever you call it during the period. And so
Overfishing.
fly.
We lost him again. He'll come back.
Yeah, I know. I see where we always have them capturing fishermen from Honduras in our waters that
Yeah.
are actually coming into our waters, so we are protected. But
Yeah.
I know, like, a lot of people start. Even the other day, kind of a cousin called me to say he wanted to go into fishing and
Yeah.
wanted to buy the different parts of fishing. With my mom, I told my mom to get the stuff from the hardware store, and so far he pulled a good, thing of fish to sell to sustain, because he can't get a job.
Damion,
So
I think I see Diana's face coming towards the screen. It means that she wants to say something, but if I think like Diane, or if I think about how she thinks, she's gonna say to you, Damion, I run a college down in Mandeville, and it's in the country area, and I want your methodology to start farming, goat rearing. So, Diane, you could go ahead and tell him. I'm sure that's what you're going to say.
Thank you very much, my agent. Yes, Damion. So we at Catholic College of Mandeville took on a group of young students who just completed fifth form, and they're in the new sixth form program. We're in Manchester. We're in an agricultural area, and I subscribe to the need for diversity. And I think that we need to diversify what it is that we farm, what is it that we produce, to respond to the needs, and to respond to not the needs here in Jamaica only, but on the wider cross section for sustainability of the individual. So, Damion, we can still get two goats, or would you be willing to come and talk to these young people for me, to encourage them, to show them the value and how it works, that yes, it is something that is practical and doable? I also want to ask you, as a farmer to myself, do you carry Nubian, or do you just carry traditional goat as we know them?
Okay, thanks for the question. So I hope you're hearing me well. Are you hearing me?
We are, yes.
Yes. So I have now done some research on the internet, and I'm trying to get a line called the JNB, which is the native. I buy the native females, and then I breed them with the Nubian, because the one Rami can breed all 30. Yeah.
Did you
Yes.
say it was a Jamaican goat?
Listen, sexual harassment.
The native goat, actually, it has developed a lot of its immune system is more conducive to survival, to the different afflictions locally. And so when you get that gene inside of your herd, them harder to dead than the Nubian and the Boer.
Okay.
So sometimes when I see some goat on the road and them a walk and I eat all garbage and thing like that, if you can breed that mother with a Nubian, you get both the resistance, the health acumen of that person, that mother will walk up and down downtown, and the size of the Nubian.
Yes.
You understand?
You should respond. I don't think you heard her first question.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Dianna.
Which was it? The first question is if we can still get some of the goat.
Oh, well, you have to write to the grants people. Come and argue with my goat.
She wants you to come down and talk to her six farmers and stuff. And
Oh, yeah, man, and I will even make them tour the farm because listen, from goats, the manure, big money is on the manure.
Oh,
The goat feces. Yeah, man, you see all vegetable farmers, them line up out the gate trying to buy the manure.
Oh,
The skin,
okay.
the skin is good for slippers, for bag, and also for drums.
Yes.
So
it's
you
a
see,
big money-making business,
yes, man.
especially with the COVID pandemic for
Oh
people.
my God,
Money.
man. Listen, I'm so happy I discovered this thing, you see? I'm
nice.
so happy that I discovered it. And as I said, the goat transform what you call nitrogen, is it nitrogen, into crude protein. So from the grass, they transform that into protein. That is why they call them a small ruminant. So their stomach system breaks down this nitrogen consistently until it becomes fat and protein for them. You understand? So the goat can eat grass. Now, when you run a commercial thing like mine, I buy feed to supplement the grass. But in the main, a goat can consume grass and still reach a certain amount of pounds within a year or a year and a half. While I want them reaching a 9 months, so me give them some feed and stuff.
Right.
But
So
it
supplemental.
is a very viable business.
Okay, because I do remember you did a video that when you killed the goat and the amount of money you made. I'm not sure if you remember that video.
Yes,
I
yes.
was like, whoa, that is a lot. But in regards to larceny, is that an issue?
Protect against that. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That is the greatest concern for goat rearing. And that is why if you don't have a high investment, I would suggest cooperatives. Because at my farm, we have fence, and then we have electric fence, and then we have dog, right? Plus we have people living on the farm. But that's because we have a lot of goats. If you have 10 goats, it make no sense you buy electric fence and stuff like that. So if it is that they could have a community cooperative that could have a certain amount of goats that make it value securing, then people will pass you and maybe go thief somebody else goat. I'm gonna look for the line of least resistance. You understand?
Yes.
So I'm gonna not try come over my farm, face 2 dog, jump over my fence, face some more dog, get electrocuted, face some more dog.
So
Yeah.
you have your guard against
Yes.
that kind of larceny.
But I think our effort against predial larceny has been misplaced. You see, what we really should be doing is to focus on the buyer, because there
Yeah,
are very few buyers. So therefore, you should make a man have to get from a certified seller, which means that a farmer must be registered or a middleman has to be registered. And once you enter the code in the system, it should tell you how much this man is able to sell. So I should go and register with RADA that I can sell 20 a month. If me I sell 25, it should bring up a red flag because I can only sell 20 a month. And if I'm not registered with RADA as a goat seller, whether as a middleman or otherwise, then I should not be able to sell, because it's about 30 or 40 people really sell any large amount of goats.
Okay, so the predial larceny is having to do with people stealing your goat and then going to sell it.
Yeah, but I don't steal it
But
to
there
eat.
is a market.
Eat
There has to be
£100 a
market
month.
for it.
Oh,
So when a man steal one of my goats now, God forbid, he might get like all 52 pounds of meat from it, plus another maybe 12 pounds of belly. Now,
Yeah.
unless it's a 9 item a thief it for keep, him can't eat that by himself. So the majority of people when them thief 15 goat, 25 goat is to carry it and sell on the market.
Good information.
You understand? But
Yes.
we're targeting maybe 2,000 thief instead of targeting 30 sellers.
Yeah, but my thing is that how can you track the meat with the seller? Because how would anybody know that they actually bought it from?
All
Because
right.
I could put in the system that I got 50, but when I really got 100 pounds, you know, like.
Okay, so all right, so it's in the same way that the Ministry of Health or the Bureau of Standards, they do spot checks on my abattoir, or they do spot checks on my factory. So therefore, if you have 10 pounds registered and I do a spot check and you have 20 pounds, you have created an offense.
Yes.
You understand? So the risk is to the buyer.
Oh.
But if you just try to track 1,000 man who's replaced by another 1,000 man every time you catch them, it's ridiculous. So all I'm saying is that if you are a wholesaler, like one wholesaler I sell to, they buy 30 goats, right? From me, anytime I have goat, they buy all I have. And they said they will take 30 a week. Now, he should only be able to buy from a registered seller as a direct farmer or a middleman. And that middleman have to buy from a registered farmer. So all you need is a thing on your phone and you enter my code, Damion Crawford 1176, and then you come and say 20. And if I don't have 20 to sell based on my registration, it give a red flag.
Oh my God.
That Damion is registered to only have 5. Then me have to explain to RAD or to the police how me get 20, 10 other farmer they give me some or whatever. You understand? So that is a problem, I think, that we are targeting. We are run down, the police are run down 1111 man, when all we need is a unit within the police force that check these wholesales and make sure, say, yo, them have what them say them buy, and the ASICODA system tell you what exactly they have bought.
And who they've bought it from, most important.
Right, because you have to buy from a registered person. You can't enter in the system unless you enter my code.
True.
But then we have a network of small cook shops, or lots of these cook shops that will continue to buy the goat at a good price. And so there's always this other avenue for the scrupulous to take
at least you're
well, the thing is,
yeah.
The truth is the cook shop basically buy mutton. Very few cook shop buy goat. Because remember, a cook shop is a business that really profit him a look.
Yes, the
so
price.
The goat part of the market is really home consumption, because a man will cook for himself and he want the proper taste. It come like, oh, if I'm going to sell fruits, I will buy a bus melon because it's cheaper. But if me I carry it home, I don't want a bus melon. You understand?
Yes, I do.
So most of the local cook shops, they really go down to the big importers and buy the mutton, which is cheaper. So really, if you look on it, you know, remember in Jamaica, Sunday food is oxtail and curry goat.
Yes.
Exactly, that's a Sunday food. So if you put it to say we're going to eat 2 weeks of curry goat, then real goat at our house from about 600,000 households, we are looking about 1.2 million consumptions of goat per month. And we are use 5 pounds per month. We are looking at 6 million pounds a month.
Damion, give me, this is an interesting question. Okay. What is your, I'm coming there, but I want people to know, what is your assembly line look like from the start to the finish? You know, from the day you bring the first goat in, what happened next?
The production of the goat.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So most likely I bring in an adult goat, right? Yes. So you bring in an adult goat. Now we don't build out the goat infrastructure sufficiently to facilitate its development, because we don't even have like rental of a ram, right? So a person should really legitimately be able to go to him RADA office or somewhere and rent a ram, because unless you have a herd of over 20, a ram is an inefficient purchase. A good ram, you understand?
Yes.
So like me have 4 ram currently to my 300 mothers. You understand? Because once you structure him, you understand him. Yeah, he will be
good.
Yeah. one time in faint, you know, one of them dropped down and couldn't manage. Just dropped down. But
Did you know what it was when he fainted? Did you know
yeah,
what?
in faint, man, in can't. But
I had
so you have the adult, right?
Damion, they
Yeah.
were all up on the work.
Yeah, him couldn't manage, man. I overwork him. And him don't want to stop, you understand? So you have this female.
Right.
So what you're gonna do now, right? You're going to look at when you want to have meat to sell.
Right.
Because the price also changes. I don't change my price because I have enough to sell, right? But in Christmas, it go up to a more expensive price. So if you have a look a bit, you might say, all right, I want to have goats Christmas and Easter to sell. So you want to set your breeding schedule so that you'll have adult goats to sell at that time. The worst thing can happen to you is that you have a lot of kids in Christmas when everybody want goat, but them too little to sell. You understand? So therefore, you want to set up your schedule. Now, when a goat get pregnant, it take about 5 months to have the baby.
Oh.
Yeah. So therefore, if him get pregnant today, in 5 months he'll have a baby, and then it take about 8 or 9 months to get to the weight that you want. Right. So if you want a reasonable weight, that take you 8 months to 9 months to get to that weight. So you just go up on your calendar and say, all right, I want a first set of things to be ready in March. So therefore, I need this 13 months. I have to breed from February. So that next year, March, may have this set ready.
Okay.
Then may have to breed at this time so that December may have this set ready, right?
Okay.
Now, I sell every month. So me breed a different set every month. So basically, I breed 20 goat a week.
Oh, to be consistent.
So yeah, so every
That's
week,
good.
I have 20 goat a breed, 20 goat a breed, 20 goat a breed. It
Okay.
also helps with the kidding because one goat have all 2-3 picnic. You imagine if you have 100 goat of picnic, right?
Yes.
Which is something that I learned. Because they have like 90 at goat pregnant one time. I'm happy and everything. And then when all of them kids come, them are dead because you don't have enough hands to take care of them. You understand? That 2 months period is a very tentative time for the kid. Cold breeze will kill him, all them things. So you have to have people, sometimes the mother not give him no milk and all of that. So you have to have people to take care of them. So it's structure right now where every week you have, you know, who I have baby and stuff like that.
Yes. Oh my
So,
God.
okay. So once you have the baby now, within 2 months, right, or 3 months, you take the ram them and put them by themselves because you don't want them to breed up them sister and them mother and all them things. Yeah.
Okay.
That's gonna lead to disability and lead to short growth. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always heard that, but we never know if it's true.
Yeah, man. And it lead to lower growth rate and stuff like that. It's one of the worst things if you make your same goat, them breed up them family. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
I
good.
did not know that.
Yeah.
Yes. So you want to introduce a new gene pool. You understand? So that is some of the ecosystem that we have to build out. So if farmers could like swap their males,
Yes.
it would have helped because then you introduce a new gene from another male pool. But you have to have like about 10 or 12 of them so that swap back. You understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when it comes to now and you separate the males now, I only sell males because I'm going to 1,000 mothers. So I keep all my females. So I only sell the males.
Okay.
So some people, they're willing to pay more for the male than the female. You understand? So if you want to sell meat, them want the male chew it, them say the male have a taste, a ranking taste.
Yeah, man.
You understand? Yeah. People say it's because them peep on themselves, but I've learned him have a gland in his head that it produce pheromones to attract females. And I really the pee, you understand?
Oh, perfume, cologne.
Yeah. So,
But I have a quick question. Suppose
yes.
like myself want to get into farming,
Mhm.
farm food, like what steps would I need to take or somebody interested?
All right, the first thing you have to make sure is that you have food.
Okay.
If you must buy food for your goat, it can't make the money. You understand? So you want to make sure, say, grass is nearby or can be nearby.
Yes.
So if you have an acre of land, for example, you can feed 45 goats if you plant king grass or not mulberry, Mombasa grass. So you
Yeah.
have these grass will grow tall like 8 feet in the sky. So
Yeah.
you can get enough fodder. We call it feed, fodder, on an
Yes.
acre of land for about 40, right? So you
Okay.
have to make sure you have access to feed. But sometime in the bush, you have access to the bushland, government
The
land
bush.
and things
Yes.
that
Yes.
can carry them to go eat.
Bread nut and
Right.
yes.
Yeah, man, because all hag and all them things and love them stuff
Yes.
there, right?
Yes.
Then now, once you have that access to feed, you decide what kind of house you want to put up. Now, you know, if you do my house, like my house look like apartment, you understand?
Whoa.
But that's because may I try get HACCP certified and all of those things. Because in the future, I want to export pre-season mutton.
Wow.
Oh,
So if you
that's
want to
good.
send to New York and send to Miami and all like diaspora
And
now.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Ah, right. So me want to season it up with the local seasoning and freeze it and send
Yeah.
to you, right? So I
Yeah.
want to do a mannish water mix and I want to do a pre-season
Wow.
mutton, right? So, but that would have, America would have to come and approve my place and stuff like that. So me put a higher investment into my house.
Yeah.
But mostly waste board, like what the thing that come in the ship name again, that little board where you pack your barrel lemon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Pallets.
The
Slide up.
pallet.
Right, pallets.
Yes.
Right. So you can use pallets, you can use gravel. What you want is to make sure that the goat urine don't soak the floor and then him stand up in it because him will get hoof problems.
Okay.
So if you put gravel at the bottom or if you put sand, it helps to do that, right? But if not, slatted floor is always the best with the local wooden slatted floor. And then you set a scheduler when you want because you don't have enough hand to sell goat.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a man stuck with goats.
Yeah, that's true.
That is
I
nice.
see a lot of people asking
So
for you to send to UK, Canada.
you got
Yeah.
market. You got market, man.
But want to be the best dressed. You see, like how you have best dressed chicken.
Best just
You want
good.
to be the best dressed goat. You
Goat.
understand? Yeah.
Go with the damn
Yeah.
goat.
Yeah. So I have enough land now for 1,000 mothers, which would have given me about 4,000 kids a year. You understand? 6,000 kids in 2 years, because it's like them breed 2 times, 3 times in 2 years.
Yes.
So if I can get that enough goat, that you imagine you have 6,000 goats,
Diana, you
you
have a
can
lot
make
of journey
$10,000 goat.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I really
You understand?
I like Damion's bigger outlook for the goat farming, and I see it as potential employment to replace
Yeah.
the fallout within so many other sectors. And I think that it is something that we need to encourage persons in the diaspora to partner with family members for whom they can't any longer afford to send these constant remittances, but instead to help them to start these goats.
Yes.
Start a little goat
Yes.
rearing.
Well, you
They
imagine one
want to
mother
have-
goat. You can
Yes.
get a mother goat for like 25,000 Jamaican dollars.
Right. That we could
Now,
start. But
if
Damien,
you start him off with 2 or 3, you don't need to call you back.
except for say meeting the goat now. Damien,
Yeah, or if you say when you come for some, like, yo, may I save a look at one picture when you reach.
but I have a question for Damien. Damien, you mentioned the best dress of the goat, and I, playing on your name, I said the damn goat. But Damien, do you see a possibility of encouraging small scale farmers, as the chicken farmers had done, with us rearing goats to supply you finish them up and then take them for your production?
Yeah, would that be something that you'd be?
That is the model, that is the most genius model that I've seen. So best dress basically tell you that you should spend $200 million, and all he does is to guarantee you to buy it from him. So him not put in no more house, him not put in no more infrastructure, and not buy no more land. Him just guarantee you sale.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
so
that's
that
true.
is what we
Yeah, I've
intend. So
heard
we
about
put
that.
in, yeah. So we put in an abattoir, and as we establish the markets, we now try to contract farmers, and say, yo,
That's
farm for us, and we guarantee you. What is the problem with Jamaican farmers, however? You see, like, if I guarantee you, I can't pay you the full price. Come me have to try to make a profit, right?
Right.
So let us say a goat of $30,000. I mean, say me I get $28,000. You see, when him say, all right, cool. It's when goat reach 40,000 to a Christmas. Him not get none, you know. Him gone with him goat, them say, boy, dog, kill them, all kind of foolishness.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
How do you incorporate technology in your business?
Okay, well, we have an app now that we didn't design. We bought it online that basically schedule when the goat must be medicated, when he must be bred, when his baby should be born, when the baby should, what feeding he should get in what period. So this thing does plan out everything for you.
Oh,
You understand?
That's
So
good.
who is his mother? All of that. You understand?
They
So
keep
after
them
a while now, when you decide which females you're getting rid of, you look at who her mother is, and if her mother was a 3-dropper versus a 1-dropper, what gene she have. You understand? If her father came from a 3-dropping pool. So if you put a 3-dropper, mean them have 3 baby. If you put a baby that born in a 3-dropper male with a baby that born in a 3-dropper female, you're likely gonna get 3 every time from that offspring.
Right.
oh.
And that app tell you, like, see the 3-droppers here, put them together and make us see what happens.
Damion,
Yeah.
you learn all this stuff in 3 years, in 2.5 years?
Google is a university, you know.
You know what's funny? I remember when Google first came out and they said, do not go to Google to get information.
No,
Go to the library and research.
And I want to say,
Doctor's
the
office,
farmers, the
Clean, I
goat
go to
farmers in
the doctor's
Jamaica,
office.
they're very, very helpful. We have a thing on Facebook called, it's called progressive small stock or something like that I'm on. You can go and write any question, and I have the benefit of being Damion Crawford too. So it's easier for a man take my call. You understand? So
Yeah,
me now
that's
go on
good.
like say me now have that advantage of saying, hey, this is Damion Crawford, and maybe him feel a little more disposed to answer. But they have been very helpful. And I've lost too, because I get debts and I get things, but that's business. To learn is a cut too. But I just keep Googling, I keep YouTubing. I
yes.
visit other
That's
people's
good.
farm and ask them peer question. And anytime anything go wrong, I try to totally understand, you know, what could make it not happen again. So
Right.
that's how I'm learning.
And then technology is a part of your security too, right? Someone asked that.
I have the electric fence. If
Okay.
it is tampered with, it come to my phone. If the gate open, it come to my phone.
Oh.
So you know, it also have an alarm system on it. So that technology is also there. And I'm putting together a thing now to sell the goats, like an app to sell goat, you know. So if
So,
people want goat for buy them, just go up on them phone and say,
You can buy
okay, so you sell to just regular people, not only the big
I
companies.
only sell to wholesale now currently. I mean, I
Oh,
have enough,
not
I have
true.
enough goat.
Oh, to sell to.
Oh my, I'm
But
so
but when you have a business, you should never only sell to wholesales.
Yeah.
Profit maximization say you must sell to the final consumer. So you must always have like a 60-40. If you have a big business, 40% should be to the consumer, 60% be to the big
Yeah.
wholesale. If you have a
That's
small
true.
business, 60% must be to the consumer, 40% must be to the wholesale. But because them take everything now, I stuck I sell the wholesale for established. But eventually more I sell 9 and regular people because them are pay more.
Yeah, because I'm saying, yeah, well,
Them are
good.
pay more, right?
Yeah, they had like a party.
man. This has been the most my enchanting, enlightening moment of the day. I'm so proud of you because you took what was negative
And then positive.
and made it into serious positivity. You know, and people better be listening. You know,
But they always laugh off of me, though. They love laugh off of me.
I know.
In the last election, I said too that we should pay $4,000 on everybody light bill, right?
I remember that too.
And then laugh and laugh. Them said this is the maddest thing, right? And the reality is that with what is happening with COVID, it's the entertainment people come out now and I say, we want a package. The Jamaican society is so dependent on interaction.
Yes.
Between tourism is interaction, entertainment is interaction, vending is interaction. When you reduce interaction, a whole heap of people suffer because we're so informal. We depend on interaction.
Yes.
So what is happening now is that to help everybody, we can't give stimulus checks. We don't have enough money to give each person a check. So I said to them, make we give each household something. But we can't give each household a check because you have households with 3 family in it.
Right.
Yeah.
2 brother and them end up have their own family. So I say, make we pay the light bill. They laugh, man, they laugh. Now I see them and say, yo, we want stimulus package. So I laugh at half of them now.
Yeah, that's with me too. Like when usually that's why I say like I follow you and follow other people. Like usually I try to ignore the noise and try to listen keenly on what people are saying and analyze for myself, you know, if it makes sense. Because if we did go proposal, I knew it made a lot of sense. And if we're giving stimulus, it makes sense because people need the assistance because people are crying. Some people are paying the light bill right now. And I didn't read the full article from JPS about them having
30%.
30%. Yes.
issue or something. So if they got that money, it would be helpful. But yeah, that's good what you've done and turned everything positive. That's how people need to learn. Just ignore the voice and keep going. Whatever dream you have, just keep
Can you
going.
imagine a stay-at-home mother when you're not a light? That would be
Yeah.
the worst stay-at-home mother in the world. You'd have to got teeth out. You can't watch TV, you can't turn on the fan.
No, and worse yet, as an educator, you can't participate in your
You
school.
can't participate in school. You can't work from home. I mean, but they always laugh. But as I've read the Bible a lot, and a lot of people who met the Bible, them were laughed at, you know.
Yes.
Mm.
I recall, you know, when I read in the papers about the goat, they didn't give you the whole story. They only tell you about one part that would make news. But as I listened to you this morning, I never heard it. I never heard you that side of it. You know, the business side of it of creating business. You only hear say, "Oh, you want to give one goat," but this is such a comprehensive look at how a person can take one small thing and make it into millions. You know, thank you so much, Damion, for coming today. Me go
Thank
get
you for having me, man.
get you back
And
on the
whenever the
show.
school wants to come, you just tell me, man, I'll facilitate.
Yes,
And they like it because they can play with the kids and they can do all kind of things.
I certainly will. Thank you very much.
All right. Take
Yeah,
care.
Thank you, Michelle.
Bye. Bye. Thanks for being here.
See you again.
All right.
Take care.
Love. And I apologize for being late. I'm sorry.
No
That's
problem.
fine.
Good. They did good.
Thank you.
All right.
For everyone listening out there, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here and being patient with us and so actively listening and participating on the comments. Dianna, you want to have your last word?
It was good as always to be here. Looking forward to next week. Just urging everybody to keep safe. Shout out again to everybody here on this side of the pond in Jamaica. January has ended. It is February that is upon us, and just the other day we were fighting about sorrel and Christmas cake. Now it's about chocolate and whether or not we get roses for Valentine. And in the midst of it, we will have Ash Wednesday, which is a public holiday here in Jamaica. So for my peeps at Clarendon College, my good old alma mater, thanks for joining us. And that's my 2 cents.
Oh my God, Michelle, take that final word.
Well, final word is the information today was a lot, from sexual harassment to goat rearing. Very good show. Every week it's getting better, more insightful. I'm glad everybody's tuning in, commenting. Did you get an opportunity to shout out everybody? I guess we're out of time. But I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and just tell your family and friends and everybody to tune in every Saturday at 10 o'clock, jamaica.com. And we always have a great show. We're here to educate and also sit back, laugh, and enjoy, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Have a nice time, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Always wave goodbye. Bye.